Oh, to have the Trinity on your side. So I think the last time that I spoke about Ezra Miller, it was to say that he could face like 26 years in prison. Well, now due to some news that just recently come out that I'm going to present to you, he probably is not going to serve much of that time, if any of that time. Oh, to have that Trinity on your side must be a beautiful, wonderful thing. So the name of the article that I'm reading from NBC News is called Ezra Miller Agrees to Plead Guilty in Vermont Burglary Case. When I saw agreed to plead guilty, I already knew that plea deal was incoming. Actor Ezra Miller is expected to plead guilty in a lesser charge of trespassing in Vermont after he was accused of stealing several bottles of alcohol from someone's home. This thing went from him being a burglar and a thief to him just merely trespassing. Trespassing is the equivalent of walking onto someone's grass or just stepping into someone's home and not taking anything. This guy literally went into someone's home and stole multiple bottles of liquor. And they said he can plead guilty to a lesser charge of just trespassing. Damn that he broke into someone's home and stole liquor that he didn't own, that he didn't buy. But this is the person that they allowed to stay on at DC. They're not shelving his movie. They shelved Batgirl. They said it was one of the worst movies they'd ever seen, but they kept this on. Keep in mind, this movie is supposed to come out, I think, in June, if I'm not mistaken. It won't be getting my money, I'll tell you that. Miller, who uses they/them pronouns, was alleged to have stolen the bottles just before 5 p.m. May 1st from a house in Stamford, police said in August. They were later charged with unlawful trespassing, 2 charges of burglary in an unoccupied dwelling, and petty larceny. A clerk for Vermont Superior Court confirmed that the parties have agreed to drop the burglary and larceny charges. I wonder how much they paid him. Miller is expected to enter a guilty plea Friday in Bennington County Superior Criminal Court. Court documents show prosecutors are proposing that Miller face 89 to 90 days in a suspended sentence, as well as a year's probation and a $500 fine, as if he couldn't afford to pay a measly $500 fine. And granted, they might put him on probation, but the thing is, he would have to lay low that whole time. The minute he steps out of line, they would be like, oh, we got him. But do they really? Again, that Trinity is powerful. And for those of you who are new to the channel, the Trinity is he's PC, he's in the academy, and he's one of them folks. It's very rare that you have anyone that completes the Trinity set, but you're looking at one on your screen. And with that suspended sentence thing, all he has to do is not really do anything out of the ordinary for those allotted days. And they're going to do their best to try to make sure that that doesn't happen or not get talked about should it happen. The maximum sentence for the burglary charge would have been 25 years. And the thing is, even if he got found guilty of it, I don't even think he would have did all of that. According to the charging document, a representative for Miller did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Miller, best known for their role as the Flash in the DC Comics film franchise, has been embroiled in a series of criminal cases over recent years. They pled no contest to a count of disorderly conduct and paid a $500 fine in Hilo, Hawaii last year after they yelled obscenities at patrons as they sang karaoke and grabbed the microphone from a 23-year-old woman. In another case in Hawaii, Miller was alleged to have thrown a chair at a 26-year-old woman at a private get-together in Pahoa. I probably mispronounced that, but it's a city in Hawaii. The outcome of that incident was not immediately clear. A Massachusetts woman was granted a temporary order of protection against Miller in June. The order which was requested on behalf of the woman's 12-year-old child, was granted after the judge found the child faced substantial likelihood of immediate danger of harassment. Miller publicly apologized for their actions in August, saying they were committed to returning to a healthy, safe, and productive stage in my life. Having recently gone through a time of intense crisis, I now understand that I am suffering complex mental health issues and having begun ongoing treatment, Miller, age 29, said in a statement through their spokesperson. Now, I bet you they're going to give them all the space they can to get all the treatment that they can get to try to get their life back on track. Let that have been a black person. Anyone, any famous black person. I'll use Kanye West in this example. Guess what? Ezra Miller ain't about to get no money snatched out of his bank account. He isn't about to lose any deals, should he have any. He's not about to lose a thing. And they're going to try to keep this as hush-hush as they possibly can. Because the only way that this makes noise when it comes to Ezra Miller is when Ezra Miller is the one making the noise. But if they can keep him quiet, they're going to keep it quiet. But if it was anybody else, they'll try to find a way to dig and dig and dig and dig until they can't hit any, till they can't dig anymore, till they hit that point in the ground that doesn't go any further than where they've dug, and they'll continue to pick and pick and pick at it like a scab. Despite an online campaign to remove Miller from the DC Comics franchise, The Flash is expected to release in June. Again, the amount of privilege that this dude has, whether this person has. Actor, writer, producer Issa Rae criticized the industry for its reaction to Miller. Rae, the star of Insecure, called the situation a microcosm of Hollywood in an interview with Elle magazine in October. There's this person who's a repeat offender who's been behaving atrociously, and as opposed to shutting them down and shutting the production down, there's an effort to save the movie and them, Rae said. That is a clear example of the lengths that Hollywood will go to save itself and protect offenders. And I have my issues with Issa Rae, but she said nothing wrong in that statement. But the crazy part about it is she's one of the only few people in Hollywood that's calling this out. That's another thing. If y'all remember, I did the video about Paul Haggis and how they were questioning why aren't more people in Hollywood calling him out. Granted, some people may not know who he is, but there are people that know who he is that could call him out, but they're not. Had that been Bill Cosby or R. Kelly, or in some cases, Michael Jackson, even in death, that man been dead since 2009, they will still invoke his name in a negative. They will go to any lengths to make sure to speak out against them as much as humanly possible. But when it came to Paul Haggis, it was crickets. I even had people that commented under the tweet that I made and me sharing the link to the video about the commentary I did to Paul Haggis that I don't even know who these people were. And I think these were probably some PC individuals who saw it. And the reason why I gained traction for them was because of his connection to that actress, Leah Remini, because a lot of people have issues with her. But back to what Issa Rae said, she wasn't wrong. She didn't lie not one iota about what she stated right here. She probably wanted to say something else, but I didn't realize she had to contain herself. But we know what she wanted to say. But what she did say, she was flat out right. Ezra Miller got away and still gets away with so much, and they are protecting him. Like she said, they're saving him and this film. And then they're going to expect people to just run out there and actually go and support and go see it. And the crazy part about it is there's going to be a lot of people that's still going to go and see it. So you're literally going out there and supporting this person who is a thief. In all intents and purposes, when it came to that child, I guess you could throw kidnapping under there, grooming under there. This man has abused and put his hands on so many people, especially a lot of women, whether his hands are throwing chairs, going around destroying people's villas. And I'm surprised they didn't mention that in this article. Choking people. Like, this guy is off the rails. He is off the chain, and not in a good way, but he still continues to be rewarded. And people wonder why people in the new black media, such as myself, call out this type of behavior and why it's not called out on a more grand scale. My voice only goes but so far. But the people that could call him out don't, or they refuse to, or they're scared to do so. That's why I say I give Issa Rae that benefit in her even acknowledging this, but she's only one person. in that position to do so. Everybody else is just walking around aimlessly like it's nothing. And then what's going to end up happening is when the movie gets closer to coming to dropping and being released in theaters, then everyone's going to say, oh, boycott this, boycott the Flash, boycott Ezra Miller, he's this and he's that. Where was all of this energy before the movie came out, before he even started getting into the marketing and promotion of it? It's too late now. The movie's about to be released. Y'all should have hopped on that day one. Last year at best, when all of that stuff was going down. Remember, when I would put it like this, Will Smith in that incident with him and Chris Rock at the Oscars last year gave him the perfect cover. The reason I said that is because right as soon after that happened, while people were still talking about Will Smith slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars, what happened like 2 or 3 days later? Ezra Miller, what they're talking about in this article, that's when he got into that incident in Hawaii. Like literally like 2 or 3 days later. They barely talked about it because they were still talking about what happened with Will Smith at the Oscars. If what happened at the Oscars didn't happen, this story probably, and that's a slight, probably would have gotten more traction. But then again, I doubt it. Because there's been other instances where he's done stuff where there wasn't anything else going on. And he still got cover. But like Rob says over at Blacklight Revelations, the world is indeed correct.